Wesley Brooks stepped onto the marble floor, each sneaker squeak echoing in the high-ceiling lobby. The air smelled of polished wood and cologne, a mix that made him feel out of place. 10 years old, tiny frame in a thrift store jacket, brown envelope in one hand, grandmother's letter in the other. Heart hammering, palms sweaty, he whispered, "I belong here." "Excuse me, sir, I'd like to check my account balance, please." Bradley Whitmore looked up, brow furrowed. Confusion flickered across his face. Maybe this kid isn't a scam, but what if he makes a mistake? Better to lean on prejudice. "Check your account," Bradley said sharply. "This is a real bank, not a charity for street kids. Sit over there. Don't move. Don't speak." The security guard shifted uneasily, fingers tightening on his baton. A few customers chuckled while one woman stared a moment longer. Wesley's hands shook as he held out the envelope. Heart pounding, he forced himself to meet Bradley's eyes. "One belong here." Bradley snatched the envelope, tossing the contents onto the counter. Documents, school ID, the black platinum card. He hesitated a moment, muttering as he keyed numbers. Maybe he's telling the truth. Fear of a mistake clawed at him. He typed slowly as if each keystroke could save or ruin his career. "Where did you get this?" Bradley demanded. "I didn't steal anything," Wesley said, trembling. "It's mine. My grandma left it for me." Bradley's eyes narrowed. He leaned back, fingers drumming. Doubt crossed his face before prejudice covered it again. Wesley walked to the corner, envelope clutched tight. The chill of the marble seeped through his shoes. He read the letter again. "My brave Wesley, never let anyone make you feel small. You are worth more than they know." His eyes caught a small glimmer in the letter, something hinting at more than money, something hidden, something meant only for him. He swallowed the lump in his throat, letting the words steady him. The lobby buzzed around him, but he sat still, breathing slow, holding on to his grandmother's message. He belonged here no matter what anyone thought, and he would prove it. Wesley sat stiffly on the polished wooden bench, envelope in hand. The hum of fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, echoing off the marble walls. Every tick of the clock pressed against his chest. He swallowed hard, smoothing the envelope again, then gripping it tightly. "I can do this." Bradley leaned back behind the counter, eyes flicking between Wesley and the computer screen. He chewed his cheek, fingers drumming briefly. Doubt flared, maybe the kid isn't lying. But authority demanded certainty. Prejudice was simpler. A faint chuckle from a nearby customer made Wesley flinch. The security guard's grip on his baton tightened, then eased. The lobby felt alive with unspoken judgment, curiosity, amusement, skepticism, and a few silent hopes. Wesley shifted slightly, inhaling through his nose, letting the cool air fill his lungs. Sweat dampened his hair. "Grandma's voice, you are brave. Never let them see your fear." Bradley muttered under his breath, glancing at documents again, his brow furrowed, then he straightened with a forced scowl. Just a kid, nothing to worry about. Each hesitation stretched the moment, giving Wesley's courage weight. The woman who had doubted him earlier shifted, lips pressed together, eyes softening. A subtle nod, or maybe just her breathing, lifted Wesley's chest with quiet hope. Finally, Bradley leaned forward, voice low and clipped. "Your account pending. That's unusually large for a kid." The air thickened. Wesley's heart pounded, palms slick. If verification failed, he might be dismissed, embarrassed, or lose the chance his grandmother had fought for him to have. He pressed the envelope to his chest. "I belong here. I do. I deserve this." The lobby held its collective breath. Wesley's hands trembled slightly as he extended the envelope. Bradley's eyes narrowed, scanning the letter, the computer screen, and Wesley's steady gaze. A flicker of doubt passed across his face before he buried it beneath a mask of authority. "Verification," Bradley muttered, voice clipped. He tapped keys slowly, deliberately. Each click echoed like a drumbeat in Wesley's chest. What if it's wrong? The thought teased Bradley, but pride and routine won over, pushing it aside. A faint whiff of polished wood and cologne mingled in the air, grounding Wesley. He inhaled deeply, letting it steady him. The security guard shifted, eyes darting between the boy and Bradley. The tension was palpable, an unspoken question hanging over everyone. Will he succeed? Bradley's fingers paused mid-typing, brow furrowing. "This can't be right," he muttered. "Too much for a kid." His voice trembled slightly, betraying his inner turmoil. Wesley's pulse raced, but he held the envelope tighter. "It is right," he whispered to himself, echoing his grandmother's words. He drew on every ounce of courage she had taught him. Bradley's eyes flicked back to Wesley. "I need confirmation," he said, almost pleading with himself as much as Wesley. He reached for the phone but hesitated, glancing at the line of customers. One woman shifted, subtle doubt in her eyes. The security guard's hand twitched but stayed by his side. Then the moment broke. Bradley exhaled sharply and stepped aside. "The account verified. You're set." Wesley's lips curved into a quiet smile. Relief and triumph surged through him. "I belong here. I earned this." The envelope felt lighter in his hands. A subtle ripple ran through the lobby, whispers of surprise, soft smiles, nods of acknowledgement, small signs that the world had just adjusted to the reality of his victory. Bradley looked away, face tight, swallowing both pride and disbelief. Wesley turned, eyes scanning the room. Tiny glimmers of approval met him: the woman, the security guard, even the whispering customers. His grandmother's message echoed, "You are strong. You are ready." He walked past the counter, past the murmuring crowd, feeling a weight lift. He had faced doubt, prejudice, and fear and emerged not only victorious but unshakably himself. The lobby slowly exhaled. Wesley tucked the envelope safely into his jacket. Each step away from the counter felt lighter than the last, like he was walking out of a shadow he had never wanted to linger in. Bradley remained behind the desk, jaw tight, staring at the empty space Wesley had just occupied. Pride, fear, and disbelief battled in his eyes, an internal storm visible only to those who dared look. The security guard finally relaxed, letting out a long breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. He gave Wesley a small approving nod, a quiet acknowledgement of bravery and truth. Wesley's gaze swept over the lobby. Customers whispered softly, a mix of surprise and admiration. Some even offered subtle smiles, like the world itself had shifted its perception of him. He found a quiet corner and opened the envelope fully. The letter revealed more than money. It carried his grandmother's care, her foresight, and her belief in him. His heart swelled. Every doubt he had ever carried about himself, every whispered "maybe I don't belong," began to dissolve. A tiny smile broke across his face. He whispered again, softly but with firm conviction, "I belong here. I deserve this." 2 short, precise sentences, each a punch of triumph and self-acceptance. Outside the bank, the world looked different, brighter, fuller, and Wesley stepped forward with a confidence he had never fully known before. Today wasn't just a victory over a flawed system, it was a declaration of his worth. Bradley watched from the window, the weight of his prejudice and arrogance settling uncomfortably. Wesley's success wasn't just personal, it was undeniable. For the first time, Bradley realized that fear and doubt could not fully control outcomes. The story closed on Wesley walking into the afternoon sunlight, envelope in hand, shoulders squared, heart unburdened. His journey was just beginning, but the first step, the hardest step, had already been taken. Wesley walked down the street, the city alive around him. Car horns, distant chatter, the scent of fresh coffee all seemed sharper, more vivid than before. For the first time, he noticed the little things, like sunlight bouncing off polished windows or how people moved with purpose. He paused at a small park, watching children play. A quiet smile spread across his face. "Everything I've worked for was worth it, and this is only the beginning." The envelope rested safely in his bag, but the weight of what it contained, the promise, the opportunity, the trust settled in his chest like a quiet flame. He felt ready. Meanwhile, somewhere behind him, a subtle hint of Bradley lingered. Perhaps he would reconsider his actions, perhaps not. One thing was clear: Wesley's life had changed, and the ripples would reach far beyond this day. Wesley pulled out a small notebook, jotting a few notes for his next steps. Dreams, plans, possibilities flowed freely now, unburdened by doubt. His grandmother's voice, imagined in a quiet whisper, echoed in his mind. "You are capable. You are enough." He looked up, taking a deep breath, and smiled at the future. "Let them see what I can do." The camera would linger on Wesley for a beat, confident, grounded, ready, fade out on a hint of adventure to come, leaving the audience satisfied, but curious about what his next challenge might be. Even as Wesley walked away, a subtle unease lingered in the air. The city moved on, oblivious to the small victories and quiet triumphs that had just taken place. Bradley sat back at his desk, staring at the computer screen. A flicker of doubt crossed his face, quickly masked by irritation. "That kid, there's something about him. I can't let this slide," he muttered to himself, tapping a pen against the desk. The tension wasn't gone, it had shifted, simmering beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Wesley's phone buzzed with a mysterious message. A brief line of text, unsigned. "Not everything is as it seems." Be careful, his brow furrowed. Questions he hadn't considered began to surface. Who sent it? What did it mean? And more importantly, what challenge awaited him next? The camera lingers on Wesley's determined expression, a mix of curiosity and resolve. The cityscape stretches behind him, a symbol of opportunity and hidden danger. Fade out with the sense that his journey has only just begun. The car didn't move, just watched. A shiver crawled up Wesley's spine. Something big was happening, bigger than an inheritance, bigger than his grandmother's letter, bigger than anything he had prepared for. His phone buzzed again, a voice message. 5 seconds, distorted, he pressed play. A whisper, "They're watching you." Wesley's breath hitched. He looked back at the car. It slowly rolled forward, following him, but he didn't run. Because courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about walking forward, even when the world starts watching. Wesley lifted his chin, tightened his grip on the envelope, and stepped into the unknown.